Kisimama on Radio Mini, ushering us into the final hour of the day and also the final conversation of the day. Answers from a Catholic segment. Are you ready for today's segment? By the way, it's going to be beautiful, so you better be ready. And today we are talking about something that will resonate and resonates with you and with me, okay? Go and do likewise. You did it to me. That is exactly what Dilly will be talking about this morning. He'll be telling us why. A very good morning to you, my brother Dilly.
Good morning, Bram. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine. How have you been?
I have been great. As you know, I just finished my semester exams.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. And I can see your smile on your face.
And
you look relaxed.
I am so happy. You see, you never understand the great things the Lord has done for you.
Until
you start seeing it.
I like that. Otherwise, welcome
Thank
so
you.
much, my brother. For those who are tuning in for the very first time, kindly introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. My name is Dilly, and I am a student at Strathmore. And today, I am trying to be a good Catholic.
I like that, trying to be a good Catholic all the time.
Yeah.
So welcome, Dilly. Today's topic, tell us, and what was going through your mind to actually come up with today's topic?
Okay, well, I didn't really come up with this topic, but this was an article on a website I saw called opusdei.org. So I was just going through it to see, okay, what can I talk about today? What questions do I think people need to answer? And then I remembered something that is happening in my country right now, where the Catholic bishops went to go sit with the president. And, well, according to what one of the cardinals, Cardinal Nocha, Cardinal Nocha came and told the president that people are suffering, essentially. And the president was surprised to hear that these guys are actually telling him the truth, like they're not being psychopaths. So it was like, go and do likewise. Do the things that manifest Christ in your life, in everything that you do, in how you navigate social situations, how you navigate political conversations. It's very important that we learn to do these things, because that was the way we preserve our society. So, and actually, surprisingly, this is like the article is quite long, but I think we will be able to touch on most of the important parts today.
And I like your introduction, Dilly, because that is where we are as a society, that we forget who we are. Not just who we are or who I am as Bramwell. I forget that I am part and parcel of the greater family of God, that I'm a child of God, and that my deepest identity is rooted in my Father. That as he looks at me, the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I act should actually reflect him. Why do you think most of the time we are unaware of this fraternal relationship? Too easily, for that fact.
And I think this really ties up with everything we've been speaking about for the past few months. We've spoken about fraternity and friendship. We've spoken about friendship. We've spoken about our relationship with God. We've spoken about a good amount of social and religious topics as well. And one of the key reasons that someone cannot understand that fraternal relationship that we have in society is because they're not really seeing God in each person. When we are able to see Christ in every person that we meet, we're able to form a bond with them. Because if Jesus is our friend, and when we see him in someone else, it draws us closer to them to be friends with them. And when someone is your friend, you are supposed to be able to correct them when they're doing things that are wrong. And I think it's very important that we learn how to see these things, that we are children of God. We are sons of the Father, sons and daughters of the Father. And that really would help us to be able to correct the ills we notice in our society today.
Well, in your thinking, what is this that destroys the harmony of interpersonal relationships as well as the human relationship that we have?
So what do I think kills that interpersonal relationship? I think it's a lot of selfishness. And I will say this publicly. I know you have a good amount of listeners, so I'll say this publicly. It's very easy to become selfish.
Yeah.
More than it is to be selfless. And when we always think about me, and I,
mm-hmm.
and we don't consider you, Brahma, or the lady who is listening right now, mm-hmm. we are not able to care for one another. In order to care for people, in order to keep that interpersonal relationship alive, mm-hmm. that we also have to learn how to keep our hearts open to receive and see God in people.
Yeah.
And that is how we'll be able to maintain that relationship over time. Mm-hmm. Because right now, I could tell you 1,000,001 things. I could tell you, no, you have to pray that it goes away. I have to pray about this. And yeah, good. Please do pray about that. But at the same time, you have to look within and ask yourself, mm-hmm. how selfless am I being in this very moment to the people around me?
Do you think that our Lord Jesus Christ has given us our human relationship a different dimension?
Yes. That brings me straight back to what I opened with, right?
Yes.
We live in a society where we want to abandon God. And I can totally understand why people would do that. Mm-hmm. When people experience political leaders using religion as a way of getting votes or a way of increasing negative sentiments amongst people, people ordinarily want to abandon that. But at the same time, we have to kind of look at what is that personal relationship we have with Christ. Because we, as children of God, have a divine filiation. Mm-hmm. And just to really just simplify it, we have a deep connection with God. Mm-hmm. And when you have that connection with God, and when you have that grace that you have with connecting with God, it makes it easier for you to be able to look at certain relationships, certain interactions, and just say, this is not for me, or I don't think I should be having this conversation right now. The ability to discern the things the things that need to be discerned at the moment, discern the things that you need for yourself at that moment. Yeah. And Christ gives us, and that's the dynamic that we have with Christ. Because when we go to Christ in prayer, we tell him about our troubles, our worries, our joys, our sorrows, and then he consoles us like a friend. He tells us it's going to be okay. And you just having that reassurance that somebody cares about you in a way you've never imagined before changes the relationship you have with them, changes the way you relate with other people as well.
Yeah. And you see, talking about changing the way we see them, the way we relate and connect with them and caring for them, you'll realize that, as it is always said, Dilly, that anything that happens under the sun is not new.
It's not new.
Okay? Everything has been done before.
Yeah.
Okay? For example, look at the way we care less about our brother. If I ask you, how is your roommate, for example, wherever you are staying, or your neighbor, wherever you are staying, you will give me the same answer that someone else once did. Okay? Am I my brother's keeper? Tell us how this actually goes back to what happened in the scripture.
Okay, so we kind of have to look at... we're going to look at two major things. We're going to look at the Old Testament and the New Testament. So when... Adam and Eve have the fall and they leave the Garden of Eden. They have two kids, Cain and Abel. Cain is a farmer. He is someone who, grows vegetables, fruits, and then his brother is a shepherd. So when the Lord tells them, okay, bring me gifts, come and adorn me with your gifts, Cain goes and, looks for things and brings them. And then when Abel goes and brings the finest of the lamb that he has as an offering towards God. Then, out of jealousy and spite, Cain ends the life of his brother. He's the first person to spill blood, human blood. And when the Lord comes and meets him and asks him, where is your brother Cain? And where is your brother Abel? And he says that to Cain. Cain is like, am I your brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord is like, wait, are you joking with me? I know all things. I know the beginning and the end. I know you before you were formed in the womb. So you coming to tell me these things just shows how much you do not care about your brother. And when we now we go into the New Testament and we look at Christ. Christ gives us a new commandment that you should love one another as you love yourself and as you have loved God, the golden commandment. And you can see that this is sort of a resolution to all the pains of the first bill. Because Christ tells us that we need to be able to forgive people, we need to be able to love them, be able to care for them. And this really ties into scripture, just to now answer your question, is that it is a commandment that we need to know the people we live. It is a commandment that we need to take care of each other. Mm-hmm. It is a commandment that we need to love each other. And go and do likewise as I have done, as you did it to me, is a title that really resonates because of we are able to, when you read this article, you're able to see that we are in a constant conversation with God. We are in a constant conversation with God in the society we live in. When you go out there and you're faced with a challenge, your morals are challenged. How you navigate through those things shows how you love God, how you see Him every day.
Wow.
And it's very, very important that we actually understand these things. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it's a good thing there.
Talking about understanding and still within the same story that you've actually used about Cain and Abel, you realize that God did not leave room for any appeal or to determinism or fatalism as a justification for our own indifferences.
Yeah.
Why so?
Because when you leave things, when you believe certain ideas to determinism or fatalism or those things you mentioned, it gives way for a lot of misinterpretation. It gives way for us not being able to understand, see, and appreciate the gifts that God has given us. Because God is not a relativist or a determinist. He is he's the biggest propagator of free will. I like to tell people that if you actually want to understand what freedom is, come to the Catholic Church. Because in the Catholic Church, no one is going to chase you around. No one is going to force you to do anything. They only encourage you. They only tell you what's right for you. And then they leave it up to you that, hey, Brahma, go for Mass. If you want to. They want to tell you not to go or whether to go. They'll just tell you, go.
Yes.
It is good that you go. Or you don't want to look at the other aspect of determinism. God does not determine things for us. If He truly was a determinist, He would have prevented Cain from killing Abel.
Yeah.
He knew it was going to happen, but He said, maybe this guy might change his mind. And that is where the hope now lies in. He hopes and loves us a lot. He hopes that we do things that would love Him. He doesn't need our love. I think I like to tell people that there's one person in this world that actually doesn't care if you love them or not. It's God.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also good that you appreciate the one who created you. And that love is left within us. He loves us ordinarily. But you have to now show that you love Him back.
Yeah.
So I think that's why He didn't leave certain things to determinism or fatalism or any of those things. He had to be very specific. He had to be very sure that we see Christ in every person that we go through in this world with. Yeah.
Okay. And so it is to our Lord Jesus Christ, the biggest commandment He left you and I with, right? Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah.
But how often do we, how often do we depart from this particular commandment? And it happened so subtly. Okay? You realize that when we talk about drifting apart, okay, killing this relationship, most of the time doesn't happen instantly. It happens so slowly and unconsciously. Just by saying, I was meant to call Dilly today, let me see if I'll find time tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, something else props up.
No, I like to say that there's this saying that I used to hear when I used to take catechism as a child was, you work hard, but the devil works harder.
That is true.
One of the most hardworking individuals in the world. Actively working every day for the destruction of human beings.
Yeah.
And it happens very subtly because of we tend to prioritize things we tend to prioritize things that we think matter over what actually matters. And I can't really blame anyone. When you live in a society whereby if you're not working, you don't eat, the things are so hard, things are expensive, you don't have money for anything, you're broke 80% of the time.
Yeah.
You get your salary, you get 45% of it is taxed. Brother, sorry to ask, but if it's you, will you be able to call me every day? No. Exactly, you would, right? Because you're like, I need to focus on this, I need to focus on that, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then you remember, oh my God, I was supposed to call this girl yesterday and I haven't called her. You know how long I've been telling myself I'll call my mother? So it's like, it happens subtly because when you live in a society that doesn't really care, and this really ties back to some of the things we've spoken about earlier.
Yeah.
When we live in a society that does not care about the nature, the human person, that human dignity, it's very easy for us to get lost in the things that actually matter to us.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anyone anymore for missing a function or not being able to attend some of those things. I don't know what they're going through. People are going through it out there. But we shouldn't let it get to the point whereby it begins to affect our relationship with God. Because when we start to prioritize certain things over God, those things that we've begun to prioritize have become our gods.
Yeah.
And that is what idolatry is. That is what shifting the idea, or rather the concept of your worship now flows into that perspective, right? So, yeah, it happens slowly, subtly. We don't see it. I wish I could tell you how to fix it, but I would say go talk to your priest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say try and not prioritize too many things over what actually matters. So think of God, think of your family, think of your friends. This is how you take care of each other. I like to put that Jesus was a carpenter, but he still made time to feed 5,000 people.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably he wasn't paying exorbitant taxes. Yeah, the Romans taxed the people that he lived with, but he made conscious efforts. We need to start making those conscious efforts for ourselves.
And talking about those efforts daily, that makes me now think. People tell me, what message is our Lord Jesus Christ constantly reminding us, and he does not want us to forget, through what he tells us through the parable of the Good Samaritan?
It's okay. I think the parable of the Good Samaritan just really sells the message itself. It's to care for everyone around you.
Yeah.
Because when we look at that story, we see that a priest had seen the Samaritan, just the poor guy by the road, walked past him. I think there was a rich guy who also walked past him. And then was this Samaritan who the Israelites at the time looked at them as outcasts, like people they were segregated from the community.
Yeah.
Because they had intermarried with some Babylonians, and the Israelites hate the Babylonians. But you see that this person doesn't consider that in the moment. He doesn't consider that this fellow is a Jew. Doesn't consider that this guy probably would shoot me if he had a chance. But he goes down, takes care of the guy, puts him on the back of the donkey, gets him to an inn, takes care of him. He doesn't care in that moment who this guy is. Because what he remembers is that this is a human being. Before anything else, we are all human beings. And I like to say it's a very painful reality when we realize that people around us have, even our parents. I like to tell my siblings something, that our parents are very much as human as they are human to us. I would like to say, to me and you, the blood relationship we share is so strong that our parents don't have that. I like to say that there are two strangers who come together, they found love with one another, they got married, and they gave birth to a bunch of kids. But then when you actually think about it, these guys are individuals. They're their own person. And that's one of the things that I like to tell people is we need to be able to see people as human beings first before anything else. And that was what Christ was really passing across to us, that we should learn how to love our neighbors as we love ourselves and as we love God.
Yeah.
And we should also learn to do to others what we want them to do to us. So if you know that you see someone that you're mean to, you don't like, and then you're speaking badly of them, and when people begin to speak badly of you, you get annoyed.
Yeah.
Bro, you've been doing that to people. Have you forgotten? So yeah. So I think that was one of the things that Christ was really trying to pass across. Because when you look at the context of the time, the Pharisees were like, they were enforcers. They were not looking at the human person.
Yeah.
They would look at the law before the person. You need to look at the person, then you look at the law. That will help you now come to the right judgment of what to do towards this person. Because when you look at the law, you just ignore the person. You're not seeing, I don't see Brahma. All I see is section 2, paragraph 10 of this thing, and that's how I punish him. But you have to understand, people will always be people. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things that doesn't please the Lord. And that is why we have to go and forgive and ask for forgiveness. And just to add on, I think Christ, one of the things that Christ was really emphasizing on forgiveness was that he realized at some points in history, people will not be able to forgive themselves for things. And that is where true forgiveness lies. It's not in the fact that Bramwell annoys me and I say, okay, I forgive him for him annoying me. Have I forgiven myself for the things that have happened? So, yeah.
Okay. And in as far as that is concerned, Dilly, you'll realize that most of the times we truly want to see our neighbor, just as Christ wants us to see our neighbor. All right? But now life happens. All right? I am at that point that I'm the one suffering. I am the one neglected.
Yeah.
I am the one who has lost a job. I am the one who's facing toxic environment around me.
Yeah.
And yet I'm supposed to see all these people the way Christ sees them. How do I rise to that level?
It is, as you guys say, pole. It's
Pole.
Yeah,
I like
little
that.
by little. You know, I don't expect someone who is, I was a few weeks ago, I was saying I was a very big emotional state. One thing I love to preach about is that people don't understand how depression works. It's a very poisonous affair.
Yeah.
What it does is that it puts scales in your eyes that blinds you from seeing the faces around you. Everything becomes very dark, or you see just glimmers of light here and there. And yeah, fine. Now I'm the one who doesn't like people feeling left out or feeling sad or feeling depressed. If you're my friend and I hear you're sad, I'll come and meet you where you are to make sure that you're happy. The table had turned, and now it's now left for me. And I still had to be that friend to people.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to get yourself to the point whereby, how can I care for people? But also, you need to know how many people you can care for. One of the things I like to say about priests is that priests have very big hearts.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, tomorrow will be August 4th, the feast of Saint John Mary Vianney, right? He's the patron saint of priests. So all the priests who are listening, your feast day is tomorrow. I'll be praying for you guys, as you guys always pray for us. But the thing is that priests have very big hearts.
Yeah.
They have to listen to confession. They have to celebrate mass. Some of them will have to give classes. Some of them who work even full-time jobs have to go work at those jobs. It's not easy. But these guys show up for people all the time. When someone is sick and they're in need of help, they call a priest and he comes. When a child needs to be baptized, a priest comes. When there's a funeral that needs to be done, a priest shows up for it. I'm not saying you have to become a priest, unless God is calling you to that. By the way, we need many priests in this world.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it takes a lot of effort. It took them time to get there. It's going to take you time, but you have to do it little by little. Start with what is closest around you. Start with your friends, start with your family. Usually I like to say, start with your family. Charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Start with your family members. Start with your brother. Start with your brother that hasn't been feeling the best, doesn't talk about his feelings, all of those things. Start with that guy. That guy is the one who will be able to teach you how to learn how to love other people.
Okay.
A friend of mine in 2022 actually, I made this friend. His name is Malcolm. He lives in the US now. And I like to tell people that Malcolm was the one who taught me how to be a friend. There were things that he would do for me that I had never thought anyone could do for me before. And the lessons I've taken from him is lessons I'm now using to take care of other people. Because that is the way you're going to learn how to love people. Even when you're going to start dating, you get a wife. My brother, if you've not been loving before, don't expect yourself to start loving then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and I agree with you. But unfortunately, Dilly, you'll realize that gradually we have learned to recognize that, to normalize the fact that we don't value human dignity. Okay, that is the society we are living in. Look around what is happening around us today. Human dignity has been thrown to the dogs. All right, the way we treat other people, the way we talk to other people, the way we show respect to other people, the way we value the rights of other people, we have thrown all that to the dogs. How do we come back again to the track where we can now start exploring and valuing human life and dignity?
Again, slowly but surely.
Pole. Yes.
It begins with the simple things, right? Yeah, I can look around society today and say that human dignity is gone. I can say that human dignity is nowhere to be found, that no one can see it or feel it or understand it anymore. But at the same time, I can also say that there are certain things that we can do that will bring us back to that point.
Yeah.
One of the things I always say is that the children are our future. We can start with them. When we teach kids to care for human dignity, when we teach kids to care for human life, it would really make them want to see the world from the perspective of love. And it's not going to be an easy affair. It's not going to be something that, Bramwell and I and our lovely photographer over here would be able to do or not to do. Even Radio Wamini itself can just be the first of many means of teaching people how to care for human life. But it's a very slow effort together. But one of the major ways I think we can start getting there is by calling out our leaders. And this brings me to the introduction when I was talking about the Catholic bishops in Nigeria, where they came and they told the president, hey, Prezo, people are suffering in this country. People are not eating. The people are not hungry. The economy is not favoring the masses. You need to know this. We cannot come here and tell you, Mr. President, you're doing a good job. We cannot be suffering and smiling with you. Because it starts when those bishops went there and they told the president what they had told him, it was because of they said, bro, people are dying here. We know what our faithful is going through. We know the people who come to our church, what they ask us for. They're not asking us for prayers anymore. They're asking us for alms. People who once gave you alms have come to ask you, please, Father, help us. Do you know how sickening that must be? Do you know how sad it must be? Do you know how discouraging it must be to be within those, to have people who once helped you now seek help from you? It says a lot about the life society we live in. So, and I always like to praise Kenyans for these things, right? Where I said that Kenyans are the people who have reminded me that if you really care about something, you will fight for it with your life. You're not, I guess the Kenyans are not scared of dying, But at the same time, they care about the human life. They care about the dignity of the human person. They might be calm, cool, collected individuals, but you guys care about the human person a lot. All it took was a bill that no one liked and sent the whole country into topsy-turvy. That is a lot to say. All it took for you guys, just when it begins to affect my dignity, when you're beginning to make me feel less human, people need to start speaking out against leadership that does not essentially that doesn't benefit the human person. And that is one of the first ways we can get renewing and stop this normalization of people not caring about the other person. Yeah.
Wow. Dilly, unfortunately, I can see our time is running out. Quite unfortunate. But we have a lot that we need to talk about.
More time.
Yeah. But I'm happy that next week, God willing, I'm going to be with you. And we'll continue. We'll continue
the same one.
Same conversation. But let me give you a minute to give your parting shot, okay? In regards to all this that we've talked about today.
No problem. So guys, this is, I would say, okay, 1 minute, right? Okay, fine. Two things. One is, this is just the beginning of a 4-part series of conversations we'll be having. You can read the articles at opusdei.org and let us know how you feel, how you think. Then finally, please check on your family members today. I wish that you guys check on your friends, eh?
Yeah.
But my mom said the other time, Dilly, you need to encourage them to also check on their family members. You don't call me. So maybe if you tell them, you start calling me a bit more. So call your mother today, call your father, call your brother, your sister, your cousin, even your chosen family. There are some people who choose their family at some point. Things could have happened. Still, call them.
Call them.
Please. And also call on to the Lord.
Yes.
Please, as well. Very important.
Very important.
Very important. Call on to Jesus.
Yes. That is it. Because that is why he created us, to turn back to him. Thank you so much, my brother Dilly.
No problem,
Thank you for your time. And I'm happy that you are at peace, you are happy, you are relaxed, done with exams, semester.
Oh my God.
Ended.
Good.
Understand. I'm happy that next week we're going to be having you again. Asante sana. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, my dear listener, thank you. Thank you so much as well for your time and your company all the way. I do wish you a very productive Monday. Bye.